everyone, welcome to the Health Tip of the Week with Dr. John. My name is Dr. Jonathan Rojanasirat, and today we are going to cover fish oil and omega-3s and how important it is to be supplementing with fish oil on a regular basis. And we're going to talk about the concept of inflammation and show you how damaging inflammation can really be. Okay, so let's talk about fish oil. Fish oils and omega-3s are essential fatty acids. What that means is that's what your body requires in order for it to function properly. Your cell requires essential fatty acid. Notice that I didn't say it's good to have omega-3s in your system. It is required. It's the main ingredients for your cell to be working properly. What is the benefit of fish oil? Well, before we get into that, let's talk about 1 second. We're going to talk about the concept of inflammation. So inflammation is a good thing to have in the body because what it does, it triggers the healing process in your body. Let's say you have a sprained ankle, you get a cut or bruises, things become inflamed. You get caught with a cold, a flu, a virus, your body becomes inflamed. It triggers the immune response so your body can heal and fight off that infection or heal that sprained ankle. Now, if you have chronic inflammation, meaning prolonged inflammation in your overall body, that can wreak havoc on your systems. For example, cardiovascular diseases, type 2 diabetes, obesity, irritable bowel syndrome, cancer, rheumatoid arthritis, asthma, autoimmune diseases, fibromyalgia, Alzheimer's diseases, psychiatric disorder, celiac, or even Crohn's diseases. These diseases are linked to inflammation. Now, the important thing to know is you can control the level of inflammation in your body. So, the omega-6 and 3, okay? Omega-6 is another fat. You can get omega-6 from a type of fat in your system that is pro-inflammatory. Meaning that it promotes inflammation in your body. Inflammation is essential to a certain level, right? It's important, but you don't want to have too much of it. You want to have a good balance between the omega-6 and 3 because omega-3 has an anti-inflammatory effect on the body. So it brings down the inflammation. Thus, this is required for you to have a good balance of omega-6 and 3 so omega-3s can counteract all these diseases, okay? So where do you get omega-6 from? Vegetable oil. So canola oil, safflower oil, sunflower oil, grape seeds oil, soybean oil, anything deep fried is probably going to have a lot of omega-6 in it. Processed food, love to put omega-6 in there, margarine, right? Those are all omega-6s. Omega-3 you get from wild game, wild fish. And to be honest, most of us don't consume enough wild game or wild fish to have enough level of omega-3s to counterbalance the ratio that we need to have. The anthropologists said that our ancestor, hunter-gatherers ancestor, have a good balance of 1:1. This is from the Journal of Biomedical Pharmacology by Artemis. A good ratio is 2 to 3 to 1. Omega-6 and 3. This is good. 10 to 1. You are at high risk for these diseases. Okay? High risk. If you're 15 to 1, you are in serious trouble. And today, standard American diet is 25 to 1. This explains a lot why chronic diseases is on the rise because We are so inflamed as a nation, as a country, as a population. Okay, so standard American diet. This is a huge contributor to the chronic diseases list on this right hand side. Now DHA and EPA, those are the two fats that are omega-3. So you got DHA and EPA. When you take fish oil, you break it down to certain percent of EPA and certain percent of DHA, whatever that number may be, but those are all, both of them are omega-3s, fatty acids. DHA is essential for the normal functional development of brain and retina, particularly in infants. So it's huge for babies, right? For the developmental process of the brain and the nervous system. They're actually developing into a sharp, smart child. So every baby should be taking fish oil at some level. DHA accounts for 40% of cell walls in the brain. Your brain is made up of fat. So it is essential to have great fats to supply the need of fats in your brain. The building block of your brain cells are cell walls, right? So the DHA accounts for 40% of that. That's huge. So if you're lacking omega-3s, your brain ended up using the omega-6, which is poor hydrogenated oil, to use as the cell walls. What happens then is your cell become abnormal. It's not going to be functioning as well. You're going to start to have leakage in your cell membranes. That's going to lead to inflammation and stress on the nervous system and on the brain. That leads to things like Alzheimer's diseases, right? So it's very, very important to have omega-3s. This is from 2007 in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition. DHA supplementation, omega-3s, improves fasting and postprandial lipid profile in men. Summary, omega-3s help lower LDL, or bad cholesterol. It lower the risk for cardiovascular diseases. This is another one from American Journal of Clinical Nutrition by McCool's in 2010. Associations of very high intakes of EPA and DHA with biomarkers of chronic diseases risk among the Eskimos. What they find is, so these people have less risk for chronic diseases because their level of omega-3s are higher. Okay, this is another one from Joseph Maroon, the neurosurgeon for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think he retired now from the Steelers, but he was there at one point for many years, worked for the NFL and the Steelers. He published an article here in 2010 in the Surgical Neurology International. Dr. Joseph Maroon says that fish oil is as good for pain as NSAIDs, non-steroid anti-inflammatory drugs. The Journal of Circulation in 2002 says that atherosclerosis, or plaquing of the artery wall, is actually from the inflammation process that occurs in your linings of your blood vessels, not the actual fat. So dietary fat has very little to do with atherosclerosis or the inflammation of the blood linings. This one is from the American Journal of Emergency Medicine. This is really, really critical here. Talk about one case here of, actually two cases. The first one is by Dr. Michael Lewis. He's a neurosurgeon. You may remember the explosion in the Sago coal mine in West Virginia in 2006. The blast trapped 13 miners for nearly 2 days. Only one miner survived. His name is Randall McCloy. His initial prognosis was very grim, expecting permanent damage to his brain. Was declared permanent vegetative state for the rest of his life. Now, his neurosurgeon started internally feeding him daily dose of 15,000 milligrams of fish oil, meaning that it feed the tube directly into his gut. And gradually, his brain electrical activity returned and he emerged from his coma, gradually regaining his ability to walk, talk, and see. And now he's married, has children, and is largely functioning normally. Okay? Number 2, we have another case who is a teenager, survived a motor vehicle accident, but has a severe traumatic brain injury where he went into a coma as well. His MRI shows significant subdural hemorrhage, which is bleeding in the brain. And on day 10, he's still in coma. They started day 11 giving him 16,000 milligrams of fish oil per day through the gut. On day 21, 10 days after that, he weaned off the ventilator. And transported to the rehab area 3 days later. So 14 days of high dosage of fish oil, and this kid returned from coma. This is huge. What an impact good fat or omega-3s has on your brain and your body. I cannot stress this enough. Fish oil bring people back from coma. This stuff is really, really good. Besides healing your joint, making you hurt less, it's actually a vital food for your brain and nervous system, which is the system that controls everything in the body. So you want to make sure that your brain has the best food to eat. And one of that food is fish oil. Number 10, this is published in the Journal of Neurology in 2012. Nutrient intake and plasma beta amyloid. So basically what they're doing in the studies is they're looking at the omega-3 fatty acids in people with Alzheimer's. And people that has higher omega-3 levels has 40% reduced risk of Alzheimer's diseases. It is projected that the baby boomer generation, people who born between 46 and 64, continues to retire, and about 14 million of them will suffer with Alzheimer's. And quoted by the author, I believe that all Americans should have their omega-6 and 3 ratio checked, and we should all strive to keep our ratio below 4:1. This is by the Department of Neurology and Department of Medicine in Columbia University in New York. So I just went through about 10 studies from PubMed, which is the most respected medical journal database in the world, on how important this fish oil really is. And this is just 10 of like thousands of studies that we know today in 2016 about human health and physiology that we need to balance this ratio out, right? So your job is to really make sure that you're not here, because 25:1 is detrimental. You want to bring it back down to 2:3. You can go through the check and you can do the fish oil, do this omega-3 and 6 ratio testing. That's going to cost you a few $100s. Most people are out of the normal ratio. If you are doing standard American diet, you very well be in this range, right? So this is the one I take. I take 3,000 milligrams per day, every day, and I recommend that across the board for everyone that comes to my door, because I know how beneficial fish oil can really be. All right, well, thank you for listening, guys. I will see you next week on another episode of Weekly Health Tip by Dr. John. Thank you.